facing a crisis on the front lines and a political crisis. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Warsaw, Poland. Yesterday's meeting with Polish President Karol Nawrocki was dominated by topics related to security and the chances for a ceasefire in the east. No grand promises of further financial support for Ukraine were made at the presidential palace. Instead, there was a concrete discussion between allies. Zelensky's visit to Warsaw could not bring about a major breakthrough in Polish-Ukrainian relations because Volodymyr Zelensky himself has political problems in his own country. If there were a ceasefire, which Ukraine needs, elections would be called, and if Zelensky ran in those elections, he will lose. We also have a crisis in Kiev itself, namely a corruption scandal involving the oligarch Timur Mindich, who is linked to Zelensky. Ukraine has problems not only with the lack of people willing to fight on the front, but also with how it uses the aid it receives. That is why the Americans are no longer sending any money to Kiev, only military and humanitarian aid. The EU is different, having just decided on a record loan. 90 billion euros will be transferred to Ukraine, and the citizens of EU countries, including Poles, will pay for it. We will get this money back from Ukraine, and Ukraine will receive this money to repay the loan from frozen Russian assets. This is our decision. You are nodding your head skeptically, aren't you? Just before Thursday's summit in Brussels, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk argued that there was no question of Poles contributing to a new loan for Kiev, that it would be granted from Russian assets frozen by EU countries, including money belonging to oligarchs. But it turned out differently. Poles will also pay, and Donald Tusk announced that this was a success. We have good news. Good news for whom? The money for Ukraine was supposed to come from frozen Russian assets. Donald Tusk talked about it. Other European leaders talked about it. Meanwhile, we are dealing with a joint loan, of which we are also a part. And this is to be transferred to Ukraine. Tusk says it's a great success, but no one consulted the public about it. The public, which made a tremendous effort during the war in Ukraine, this Polish aid, in every sense of the word, was and is enormous. Therefore, this should be the subject of public debate. Poles have done the most for Ukraine. While Germany sent 5,000 helmets to the front, Poles took in millions of Ukrainian refugees. But after the December 13th coalition came to power, no one asks the Polish Prime Minister for his opinion anymore. Others take care of their interests. Only 3 countries have secured exemption from liability for these loans, which we expect may never be repaid. These are the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. Unfortunately, Poland is not among them. At the same time, Poland has a budget deficit twice as large as Ukraine's. Polish institutions are unable to make transfers to institutions such as hospitals or other entities that should normally pay salaries and carry out investments. So whose interests is Donald Tusk looking after? Why is he taking out another loan for Ukraine on behalf of Poles in the face of the enormous aid that Ukrainians continue to receive from us? Tusk has completely ceased to matter in the European Union. He has led to the degradation of Poland. Berlin and Brussels are making deals with Moscow over Poland's head. They are protecting Russia's assets and paying Ukraine with Polish taxpayers' money. This bodes very ill for our future and our security. No one is saying that Ukraine should not be helped at all. We have been doing so since the first day of the Russian invasion of our neighbor. It is important to maintain proportion. The priority should be the security of Polish people.